How are we sounding this morning? Well, a little quiet. We'll bump it up just a hair. There we go. Good morning, Shane. How are you this morning? A little preform there. I've heard that helps and getting the fishtail to not be super wide. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Ben. The lurk button. Well, you already messed that up. There's this button that's real close to that, though. It's called the like button. It almost rhymes. Moving to Texas. Congratulations, Shane. That's a big deal. Big move, too. Yeah, renting's for the birds. Hey, Daniel. We got ourselves a nice hot fire today. Unfortunately, you can't see it because when my camera fell over last week, it broke both the cables, and I didn't remember to order new ones for the week. So, no fire cam for you. Aloha. Okay, let's start working on a fishtail, shall we? Let's see if I did that right or if I messed that up. Messed it up. Didn't need to preform. What was I thinking? I didn't mess it up too much, though. It'll still be fishtaily. And I need to put in my earplugs. All right. Yeah, that's good. Still looks good. Hey, Adam. Well, I mean, you missed a whole show first off, but won't hold that against you. We're finishing up the fire poker I started last week. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Actually, we'll just do it this way. Smithy. Recall, we did this end of the fire poker last week. Put some pretty twists on it. And this week, we'll go ahead and do a very small fishtail scroll as a kind of a guard kind of thing. Um, and turn it into a handle. So, yeah, working on that now. Finish this up, and then the wife has asked me to make a bunch of stakes so we can hold down the new um, chicken runs. They're just lightweight uh, greenhouse type hoop houses, and a wind can carry those away pretty easily. And yet, our ground is too um, full of trash. To be fair, um, there's the prior occupants of this property just put their garbage in this in the back acreage here. And so besides the fact that there's a bunch of rocks in here, there's also things like, I don't know, rugs and stuff underneath the area that the chickens are enclosed in. And so trying to put the wimpy little stakes that that these things come with into that isn't going to work. So I'm going to instead create some U-bended stakes out of some beefier material that we can take a sledge to and drive into the ground. That's the plan for today. This stuff started as, make sure I'm right about this. Yep, it's ½ inch. I make everything look bigger. Just cleaning up the profile at this point. Not important because it's going to get rolled around and really not seen or felt, but I know it's there. Just a little bit of cleanup. And at this point, we're ready to scroll it. Now I just got to make sure I scroll it in the right direction. And that is, this is the way we would hold this thing more often than not. But you can't see that because I'm zoomed in too much. This is the direction we would hold it most often because we're going to be poking and pulling. So I'm going to want the handle side of this thing to bend this way, which means this needs to bend up this way to be that guard kind of feeling that I'm going for. I'm going to heat it back up again and just planish it. Motorcycle coil springs. Great stakes, even annealed, they are tougher than mild and also fairly slim. Hey, Alexis. I know I can get these things. I just have to go make the time to do it. Let's see here. What else we got go here? Jurgen's in the house. Upside down people. Ben, you're 6'2"? Oh, my voice is too low. Okay, let me bump it up. That's an easy thing. Here we go right here. Come on. There it is. I'm talking too low, huh? Let's try it there. How about there? How about there? How about there? All right, now we're into the spot where typically you want your voice to be. Thanks for letting me know. You're a poet and didn't know it there, Adam. All right. Good enough heat for planishing. Just keep working it, knock off the scale. See if it looks smooth. It looks smooth. Looks good. Try to get rid of anything that looks like a facet. I want it to look hand forged. Obviously, it is hand forged. And I want it to look it, but I don't want it to look, you know, rough, right? So we'll do the work. All right. The next step, I'm going to go ahead and leave that straight for the moment. The next step I'm going to do is start heating up along the whole bar so I can start breaking corners, which means I need to hold this further back. That way, when I break corners here, I can blend that corner break all the way back. Yep. I think I have a wall. Let's see if this is too hot yet. It is not. So I may be going ahead and getting a propane forge. My wife was like, "You're going to be," because I was chili feeding the animals this morning. She's like, "You're going to be fine once you get out in the forge, into your room." She's called it, and I was like, "No." One of the nice things about using a hand cranked solid fuel forge is it really doesn't put out all that much heat. The heat is pretty much concentrated and only created when I turn that crank. If I really wanted heat, I need a propane forge, as in to heat the area. And she's like, "Well, it sounds like you need a propane forge then for the winter." So I may be getting a propane forge for the winter. Hey now, what are we talking about here? Hanging pictures, right? Fruit flavored Tic Tacs. That sounds good. Yeah, it's actually a really good temperature in here right now. It's 46 degrees. I can see my breath, but as I'm out of shape, about any activity I do, just cranking the blower and swinging a hammer gets me warmed up. So, what do we say? Three huzzahs for being out of shape. Propane forge, self built, and I work in my back porch. It doesn't heat the back porch very well. Okay, take care, Adam. All right, go ahead and knock these corners off. Flip it over, see how much damage I did there. Good. I'd say that an anvil does about 80% of the work that you'd put into your blows on the top. So you always have to go back and clean up for the other 20% to actually show through. All the way over. But the good news is an anvil is consistent, unlike my hammer blows. All right, all nice and broke. And corner stroke, just use this remainder of the heat for planishing, equalizing the lumpy bumpies. I'm not going for round, I'm just going for something that I think should feel good in my hand once we bend it. All right, that looks good. Those broken. The question now becomes, will I have as much handle here as I think I'll have? Or do I need to pull it down even further? I think I'll pull it down even further. It just means putting it in the fire a little further. There we go. Warm that section up. And that way, when I fold it over and have no idea how much of a fold I'm actually going to have, it will still be nice to the hand, wherever that fold ends up finishing up. Football or rugby shaped. That's the shape. Huzzah's out of shape. Thank you, Daniel. Round and pear are shapes, absolutely. I don't really have any problem with starting up this solid fuel at this point. I've gotten it to an art. I basically have to be out here in the smithy setting up cameras, starting the fire about 45 minutes ahead of the show. And the fire part is the easy part with a propane torch, just to get things started. Not a good torch, just one of these little. I need to actually do better. Currently, what I've got is just these. They're perfect for starting, little fires, uh, campfires, and so forth. But I really need a rosebud, so I'm going to go looking to see if I can find a torch with a rosebud, a little handheld torch with a rosebud, until I can afford to stand up a torch using my propane tanks out the side of the smithy. Ben, careful there. I was planning on getting the up the so everybody showed off the Vivor two burner forges that they were sent to pimp for them, and I'm fine with that because they were able to prove that they're actually a reasonably decent build. Um, but I think I'm going to pay the little bit extra that it costs to get the version of that which comes with the stainless steel uh, um, fuel line, or stainless steel wrapped at the minimum, fuel line. And it's a little bit different shape than the ones that everybody reviewed, but I think that it will suit my purposes very nicely. It's not expensive, under $200, and I reached out to them and found out their warranty is a good warranty. Um, I did the Devil Forge, and the biggest reason I'm not going to do that one again is when the number one, it came with an actual clamp and rubber line, which I didn't care for. I wanted a proper fuel line, and then and so I ended up welding on something to that. And then the other part that I didn't care for is that when a burner went out, I couldn't actually take the burner apart to service it. So that's why I'm not doing that one again. We're probably in the valley here. We're probably about 400 feet above sea level, I think, at best. And the other thing about that Vivor forge is typically I didn't need double burner either. I almost always just turned off one of the burners. So, yep, newspaper, or I've even used toilet paper rolls. It's not like we run out of those in the household. I feel like Roy Adams when I do it like this. Not like I need it to be clean before I forge in the corners, but it feels good. There you go. Forged all the way up. Go ahead and flip it over. Do the other 20% of the work. Work on straightening. I have to go out of straight because of the way force dynamics works. Let's go on the other corners. Pretty straight, ready to go to the next. All right, now that that's tapered all the way down, there's no concern that I'll be overbending into a place that doesn't feel good as I work it, as I hold it, I should say. All right, time to turn that little scroll into a tiny little guard. I mean a tiny little fish tail into kind of a little guard. I just have to think about which direction it goes. Nope, no sword making happen in here. Yep, I want to make that happen, Jurgen. One of these days it'll happen. I think I uh, wore out my wrist the last time I did it for sure, and it still hasn't recovered. Chimney starter for charcoal. See, that's not a bad idea. I thought about doing that too, or getting one of those sous vide burners to start the charcoal. Yeah, naturally aspirated does work fine here. It's just a matter of what is that? Yeah, the John Switzer who noted at his elevation. Yeah, no welding heat. I've actually done welding in that forge previously. I think that's how I made the really long fire poker that I showed you guys last week. Was in that forge. No, don't have the magnet on the. And actually, yes, I do. Um, but it's not a very powerful magnet. I need to go get a more powerful magnet on there. I'm down in a valley bend, so yeah, I know I'm like closer to 400 feet than 2,000 feet for sure. Oh, you're talking about if you're talking unless you're talking about Mr. Switzer, he's definitely higher up. All right, let's get this right. If I scroll it this way, yep. If we scroll it this way, and I don't want it to scroll back. I just want it to be something like that. In other words, it doesn't need to be a real scroll. It just needs to become something that is scrollish to become a guard. There we go. Now we should be able to bring it out here. I think I'll use the horn for this. So well, you can see the horn from there. Good. We'll do it at the horn, I think. The real key is knowing where I need it to. I need it to be about there is where I need the bend to be. Let's see if we can mark that real quick. Just so I can find it again. There we go. Got a little mark there. We'll go around and mark it the other side. I can find it either way I'm looking at it coming out of the fire. I've got a nice sharp edge here on the anvil that can be used for that still. There it is. Now, about next weekend, are you guys going to be interested in a live stream on the Thanksgiving week long weekend? If so, I'll be here, I think. I don't think we have any, we definitely aren't going out of town. So I'll be in the homestead. No traveling for me anytime soon. Kevin from the other account. So I have a big chain on there, yes. And this is you can see the magnet from there. But like I said, it's not a very powerful magnet. Grand monkeys, they're the best. We're only going to have monkeys, the male ones. The female ones with the grand monkeys are going to be doing their celebrating in Texas where they live. I'm sure it'll be an interesting celebration for them. They've got some new things happening in their lives. At this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and switch to the weighted rawhide mallet just in case I hit um, that scroll. I don't want to accidentally bend it. Let's see if I'm getting it hot enough or not. It's hot, but it's not hot enough. Let's get it back in there. All right, live stream it is then, Daniel. Monkey business, nice. You know, it's funny. I'm seeing a lot of heat, but I'm not seeing it in my metal. Get it back under there. All right, let's get this. Of course, the metal is not hot in the place it needs to be. Let's get it hot in the place it needs to be. Should be able to see it better now. That's better. Let's go ahead and cool off the area I don't want to bend. Much better. All right. And now we just want to keep that bend going. There we go. I think that got it. By George. I think I need to just heat it up, get a little twist out of there that I don't like, and that's done. That's a handle. That'll do just fine. We'll use it. We'll use the vise for that. Second Wi-Fi connection. Nice. Thanks, Daniel. Ah, but it's good chaos, Kevin. Pull out the next piece of material I'll work with. Then the question becomes, do I do a finish on this thing or just realize it's an outdoor thing and it doesn't need to be finished? I have to think about that one for a second. In the meantime, let's get this straightened up. There we go. That's straight, I think. Some would say straight is overrated. Some would be right. All right. But straight and normal in geometry, those are the only times they actually make sense. I think I will put a finish on it just to head off um, rusting. Don't know if it'll work, but not putting a finish on it won't help it in the least bit. I won't put the finish on the part that goes into the fire. That seems like just a complete waste of time. Whew, that was exciting. Still too hot. Flambe. Wasting wax, but let's try not to touch it, Jack. There we go. Now we're starting to get a coat. No surprise, the thin part cools off fastest. Yeah, it's definitely half inch. And that was one of the questions I was wondering is if I should have thinned the rod or not around that, the rest of this. It would also have lengthened it a little bit, but I was told half inch is what Adam does for his. So not that Adam's, the authority, but I would say he has more experience with it than I have. So I'm not breathing the smoke, but that stuff's still not fun for the eyes. Almost there. I'm seeing it not burn off immediately now. So there we go. And we'll know if it feels bad in the hands as soon as I can get it cool enough to hold it. It will cool off enough to do this. Slowly. I'll stand over here out of the way of the way the wind is carrying the smoke. I can inhale a little less of it. Give my sinuses a break. That's getting it. The oil's running all the right places. All right, now we're good. Still smoky, but also shiny. Good, good, good. Grab the rag. Where'd I lose the rag? Yoo-hoo! There it is. Wipe off the excess. Let's go grab the, see if I can find a right-handed glove. There we go. Right-handed glove procured. That'll do the trick. It is just a little bit wider than I need it to be. I might go ahead and close it up just a little bit more. Burn off all that wax I put the time into doing. Let's see. Maybe I can just do it semi-cold. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. That does the trick. That does the trick. Didn't even have to put it back into the fire. Nice, nice. Let's cool it off in the quench tank. Mild steel. I don't know. Half inch still feels like it's a little too heavy as far as I'm concerned. There we go. It's done. Go ahead and switch to this one. I'd say would also make a decent bludgeoning weapon, maybe thrusting. So done deal. It actually feels good in the hand. The taking the corners off was the right way to go there. It has the little slip guard that worked out nicely. All in all, I'm real pleased. It's ready to go out and be at the fire pit, which, you know, depending on how things go and what you all say, might be what the live stream is next week. Scroll back. Let's see what you got. Where does the thumb go? Hold on. Well, I mean, I used a hook ruler. I used one of the, I used the, what you call it, John Switzer's hook ruler. But we can always go zero this out, make sure I'm on inches, because, you know, America. And let's see what it works out to be, shall we? I don't know if you guys can see that. Ah, there we go. Get the right angle. Oh, come on. Why are you blinkety-blinketing me? That's interesting. I'd never noticed to do that before. It says that we are actually 33/64ths. That it's hard to get much closer than half inch, but somebody will say that indeed we've just now proven. Now it says it's 65 128ths, 33/64ths. So somebody will say we have proven 65 128ths. That's what it is. That it is not half inch. And they would be right. 33/64ths is where it wants to say things are. So there you have it. Zero it out. I don't know if that means I need to get a new battery or why is it blinking? 65, 128. That's where we're at, 65, 128. And of course, it would help if I knew where my camera was. And then as soon as I slip it off, it's 33/64. I think I will see if I can warm up the twisty part and coat that. Back out here. There we go. You got a shout out, Daniel, for subscribing. Yeah, it's 60 pounds to you all the time, huh? Uh, oh, there you go. We have the s'mores fixins, so it can definitely be a thing. I can tell you metric is definitely making its way into my home. Now that I have a 3D printer, I can start actually doing all of my work in metric when it comes to doing 3D models and uh, and anything to do with that printer. I don't need this to be too hot, so let's see if it's hot enough to melt wax. It is. Good. And now the smoke's going that way? What the heck? There we go. Like I said, coating the poking end that gets hot doesn't seem to make much sense to me. I expect any. Wow. I expect any benefit I would get for doing that would be quickly lost. All right, there we go. And I set the rag where? The perpetual hunt for the rag. There it is on the ground, right where I love to have it. Collecting dirt. Oof, it gets hot. All right. Good, good. That is a job done. Now for some steaks. Not the steaks for the Barbie, but the steaks that I need to make. The length of this is, let's see, what is the length of this? Roughly my arm's length. Here, you guys can. Roughly my arm's length. I don't think I can do much better than that. So I can sit in the dirt right there, waiting for me to leave. Let's start the next project. Yet the same length of steel. This time we'll go ahead and make a spike on one end. Hey, wait a minute. That's exactly what I did last time. 2 cubits. Oh, scrolling, scrolling. Wow, you guys went off on this. Nemo's now going over there and liking things. Thank you. I know who you are. Yeah, I think the biggest thing, the reason we're not on metrics is number one, people have just resistant to change. But number two, I kind of think math teachers did find it convenient to be able to teach fractions. I mean, it's a derived reason, but it also happens to be one of the few things we can think of that all metric stuff I've ever seen is done in decimal. Yep, baby boomers are the problem to every problem. If you're in this room and you're a baby boomer, you're probably not one of those that are the cause, but you know what I'm talking about. I just finished up. Hold on, Eric, because you asked so nicely. I just finished. So last week we started that end of the fire poker and the middle part, and this week we finished the handle. So it is now a done piece, and now I'm working on um, some. Oh, I had the word for it a minute ago. We're gonna make some. I can't think what it's called now. It'll make sense in a minute. Think tent pegs except bigger, and with a curved over part to go over the rails. Because if you look out that away, you'll see there are two new green hoop houses out there, and the wind will pick those up and carry them away if I don't do something about that. But the stakes—that's the word, stakes. The stakes that they come with won't do the trick. The ground is too soft in the first several layers, first 5 inches maybe, and then is full of garbage underneath that because that's what the neighbors, what the not the neighbors, what the prior occupants did. And yeah, in case I didn't say it, Eric, welcome to the party. The only time I've heard anybody use cubits is in the Bible. Do you actually, Kevin, 7/8 of a meter? Hmm. Uh, you know, the tong part makes sense. It might make sense. I mean, most of the time I just put my hand in the fire with and as I drop the log on top. This is for the fire pit, not a fireplace. So this is not for a fireplace. I got two fire pits and only now one poker. So what I really need to do is make a second poker for the other fire pit. But a pair of tongs might not be a bad idea. Party mix. There you go. Yeah. Because of my generation, it would be house rock. 80s new wave. Little punk mixed in for fun. I mean, who doesn't want to dance to 6 6 Sputnik? I know there's airflow under here somewhere. There it is. So this project will start like identical to the last project. We'll just put a point on the end, long paper, not too long, long enough to wedge its way between whatever crap is under um, the first 6 inches of earth soil. We actually have good soil here. Everything grows here. Did you guys hear that the growing zones have all been updated, and that now there are places that are able to grow tropical plants and fruits and stuff that couldn't before? Pretty sad. Underestimation can't be underestimated. Nice. Giant pickup tongs, exactly right. I mean, I assume that's what that pickup tongs are typically um, for those not brave enough to put their hand in the fire. I got enough time. Let's do that. I don't always use light, but when I do, it's a Ryobi light. Now, is it enough to make it so you can actually see my face? No, not really. Oh well. It is what it is. Nobody really wants to see my face anyway. Yeah, That is too early to have to deal with snow. We are finally coming into our snow season, which is typically Thanksgiving, and then we don't have anything for a while. So, all right, we're gonna do the same way I did it last time. Oh, you guys aren't seeing it. It's so much fun. Which is And again, it doesn't need to be perfectly sharp point, but it does need to be sharp enough to wedge its way into things. So we're going to work a little bit at that. And that's what happens when you drip some of your wax on the anvil instead of into the pan that it's supposed to come into. Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun. We've had tons of rain. We had frost, but not snow yet. And I'm happy for that. It means that my wife doesn't get so worried about the chickens. Ah, so you got an early snow. Oh, shoot. Too hot. Not so hot as to be a real problem, but too hot. All right. That's as much as a point as I need it to be, which is probably already too much of a point. Let's see if it bends over when I actually go to drive it through the ground. I'm betting you guys are hearing way too much ringing today because I have the gain up so high. Oh, well, that's fascinating. Part of my problem is I'm missing part of my mic. Not an important part, but the part that muffles things that don't need to be heard is gone. Good thing I don't like breathe or hiss right into the mic all the time. Wonder when I lost that. See if it's still in the bag. Doubt it. Oh, and I would be wrong. It is still in the bag. Except something's not right here. Like, I see. The part the little muff hooks onto separated from it. Let's see if that goes back on neatly, or if it means buy a new muff. mic muff. It's the very first mic, so it's not like I know a lot about this stuff yet. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but we'll see. All right. Now that I've gotten a spiky end on this is not a very complicated project, and everybody probably could use these at some point in their blacksmithing career. Now we just need to decide how long do we need it to be, start folding it over. And I think that that's probably long enough. All right, we're going to go ahead and get that hot. I can eyeball where that hot needs to be. Right there. Cook up some green coal here. Screw twist in it. That's not a horrible idea. Um, the question is, would I get the twist right? Soft soil isn't the problem though. The soft soil it would just pull right up with that twist. That's how soft the soil is because it gets saturated um, with all the rain we get. The issue is getting it long enough. So maybe the length I was thinking isn't the right length. Let me just put it a little deeper in the fire there. Um, and that it becomes both a stake and not just a stake that you put a string on to tie something down, but a stake that actually has some heft. Yeah, I did, man. But if I did make a twist in it, um, the biggest concern would be uh, I'd need to know exactly how many twists, and then work on the when I'm putting it into the ground. It needs to be twisting as I'm putting it in the ground. Not the worst idea. I might have to make one of those just to see how it works. Yeah, Jurgen. By the way, you say. Now, I don't know if I'm reading what you're saying the right way, Daniel, but you did put an idea in my head, and that is, what if I actually made it barbed by putting uh, indents flat on the and angled in. So let me just show you what I mean. Here's the point of the spike, and then we'd have angle, flat angle, so that it would drive in fine, but then the dirt would fill in behind it. That's another interesting idea. I don't know if that's what you meant me to realize, but right now we're just going to go with a plain old straight one that curves around. We're going to see how that works. We're just getting it to the right. About what I think is the right size for the pipe that it has to go over. And I'm going to cut it off. So, let's see about that cutting off part of it. And first, let's see if we can get things nice and straight. Not that it needs to be straight, but makes me feel good. Things got a little twisted as I bent it around the horn. All right. There we go. One done. Now I can always put the twist in later. Let's do another one. Let's grab a pair of tongs because that's going to be hot. Let's make it not so I can actually put it to use soon. All right. I'm going to make 4 of these per hoop house. So the first step is just going to be make these, 4 of them. And then we'll make another 4 next time probably. If I was really worried about it, I could file off these sharp edges here. I may do that just so nobody handling these um, ends up hurting themselves. Okay, scrolling back. Ashes. If you're talking about my forge ashes, Jurgen, if I'm doing charcoal, I save them um, and then uh, you know dump them out for the birds to bathe in or for my donkey to roll around in. I also understand that they're supposed to be good for other use cases too. But I haven't used them for the purposes of normalizing. But as far as coal's concerned, I don't have any coal ash. It all burns up. Yeah, if I absolutely need to, Daniel, that is the next step. Would be a staple, basically. Hey, but Ben, right makes no, I said that wrong. Might makes right. So right makes my right might. Ah, yeah, the ashes from the fire pit. Yep, good point. We've not emptied the fire pit's ashes, so we've only fired the fire pit, I think, two times at this point. We need to get out there and empty out the ashes at this point. Have a great church, Eric, and a great week. Rob, these are I've got new. I'll turn you to see it in the distance there. I don't have my third camera right now, but if you see in the distance there, there are a couple of um, green hoop houses. We built over the last few weekends for chicken runs, and a wind could lift them up and throw them. We lost one that way. So we need, they come with stakes, but they're those really chintzy, you know, eighth inch, I think, round stock bent tent stakes. And our property, first off, the ground is almost always saturated except in summer, and therefore pulls up really easily. But furthermore, if you go further down than where those stakes will reach, um, the prior occupants of this property, they used to bury their garbage in the backyard. And so we've got that problem going on. Rosie, no. That's why I've got the latch on. My donkey's trying to get in. All right, back in the fire. All right. White charcoal or wood ash? I thought I'd heard that about making lye out of it. My wife, I think, mentioned that our pellet stove creates ash that is good for that purpose. Not a lot of ash, but yeah, yeah, and I do collect it. That is what this is currently full of. Heavier than I remembered. This is full of ash from when I was burning just charcoal in the forge. Well, is it? No, it is not. And I just realized what else is in here. That's gold right there. That is coal dust that I didn't know what to do with at the time. That's now that I do know what to do with it. That's called fuel. Let's go ahead and set that over there so I remember to take care of that after the stream. That's why it's so heavy. It did have just ash in it, but when I ran out of coal last time, I mixed it in there. And because all I had left was coal dust, and I was like, I don't have a strainer or anything to do anything to get out what little coal was left in there. But I didn't want to throw it away because I figured it had to be useful for something. So now I realize it's mixed in with my wood ash, if it's in there, because I may have dumped the wood ash out for, like I said, for the animals. Because it also turns out to be great for bug control on your animals. Animals love to bathe in the stuff, and it takes care of those mice and fleas and whatever else might want to be part of your want to use your animals as a part of their diet. I do have some thick steaks. You're right. I'm wasting the wrong material for this. That's okay. I'll finish this one up. I'll cut it off and I'll switch over to the rebar. Dummy. Thanks for reminding me. This just was what was at hand because it's what I used to make the other thing. And it's the same process. So I just went through. Bruce, that's not a good place to be, buddy. You'll have sparks falling on you. Your hairlessness does not protect you from such things. Ah, all right. That's as pointed as this one needs to be. Yeah, smooth it up. That's my, what, 30-minute notice? That light's not going to last anyway. It wasn't a very well recharged battery. All right. Put it back in the fire. Let's see if we can figure out how far up into the fire we need to go. I made this steak just a little bit longer and thinner. No big deal. However, that's where we need to go, right there. I told you, no. We'll go ahead and get it heated up, bent, and on to the next, using rebar instead. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Rob. Yeah, Kevin, I could see how that would work. This is what I have to deal with right now. Oh, wrong one. There we go. I'll let you watch her instead of me for a minute. Watch and see as she tries to open up the doors. That's not a doggo. That's a big O, a burro. You listen to my wife, though. Every animal's a dog, a puppy. Sorry, a puppy. Did you like that shot of my backside? I figured you would. Yeah, a little special person there, Ben. Where's my? Where's the one I made? Dang nabbit. That back in the fire. Oh, good. You're gonna walk away now. Go for a little salt. Yeah, right. If she would just turn the crank, I'd be happy to have her in here. All right. Let's see if I get this right. Yeah, that seems about right. There we go. There's half a staple once again. Cut it off and see. I did pretty good there. Try not to burn yourself, Jack. And where I marked it is about right too. Good, good. That over there. This over here. Cut it off. And pick up rebar. Let's do this with rebar instead. Just makes more sense. In the meantime, let's get that one up off the ground, cool it off, add it to the other one. It's nice to be able to make something that you can actually use in your own life, right? It's always nice to make pretty things or fun things or whatnot, but useful things, that's extra special. So 2 down. Turn them into candy canes later. I mean, we all did this to our candy canes, right? Nobody didn't turn their candy canes into shivs, right? Not just me. All right. Getting me a tattoo? I've got a tattoo. I've got the only tattoo I need right now. Yeah, you get to see some fun about, you know, the parts of my life that adds a lot of value to it. Having the animals definitely does that. There's a lot of ways to look at life. We should have our own slice of it, right? To me, animals, especially pets, teach you so much. They teach you that we undervalue the intelligence of animals. We um, we get a lot of love from them because we give love to them. You lose them most of the time. We outlive the animals that we keep, and so you get to learn that loss is just part of life. A lot of folks have a hard time with that one. A lot of folks, they lose their pet and they lose a little grip on life. Same thing happens when you lose a spouse or other loved one. But I think the right lesson to learn is everything's temporary. You're temporary. I'm temporary. So put some love out there. Probably be ready to receive some back. Be ready for the pain and the loss as it happens. But don't lose yourself to it. I think that's the thing we see all the time where we see bad guys that we can actually identify with on movies and TV shows. That's because they've suffered loss. Unfortunately, they went the wrong direction with what they took away from that. All right, let's do the same thing with this one as we've done with the others. Let's see how good I am about doing 4 sides of a thing that doesn't have 4 sides. My over exacting nature wants me to really try hard to have 4 sides on this thing. Okay, look at that. It looks like it has about 4 sides. That doesn't make me feel too terrible about my ability to do this. Go ahead and heat it back up again. This rebar is just about the length that I can pull off in this without hitting things. Looks like it's about 5 feet long. This scrap rebar I picked up. I need more tattoos, Shane. Really? A tramp stamp. The name and address just in case I get lost. Prison candy canes. There you go. Hey, possum. Chase some deer. Fill up a freezer. I have to remember your actual name is Keith. Let's see if I can remember that from the next time. Possum sausage. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope Mr. Duncan's able to relish the memories. Worth it the ride. Nice. Possum skin banjo. That'd be awesome. I think that a possum head would make a great sporin flap. Those things are, you either hate them or love them or hate them. We love them. We've had them in our on our property, and it's like you just go little marsupial. Come on, there we go. This is hard to do with such a long piece. There we go. That's as good as that needs to be. Now that I'm working it, I can see that this is not as heavy a gauge as the quarter inch. I mean, the half inch I was working, obviously. But I do like the idea of the ribs holding things back in the ground. So we'll make a couple of these and see how they stay in the ground. All right. Looks good. All right. Now let's figure out how much material I have to use to bend it where I want it. We'll go here. All the way back there. Okay. Try that again. There we go. Now let's get it hot on the inside of that. There it is. Yep, exactly. Rattle its teeth. We are making tent stakes. Yeah, basically, I've got two hoop houses that I built for as chicken runs, and those things are light and wind here. We get windstorms here every autumn and spring. Now, a windstorm here could lift those up and carry them off, and so they come with tent stakes, but they're cheapo tent stakes, right? These little 1/8 inch, right angle bend stakes that um, are maybe 6 inches long, and our topsoil is saturated 6 inches and doesn't. You're not holding anything down with those things. But furthermore, deeper within um, our property's, ground, the the prior occupants decided the back acreage was for burying their trash. So we have all sorts of fun trying to get anything, shovels, whatever, into the ground out here. So solution, better tent stakes. These will actually go around the bottom rails. They're tubular rails that these hoop houses are built with. I just realized I'll do that afterwards. I've been sitting here fighting. You guys can't see this. I'm going to let you see it. I've been fighting with the fact that when I deal with some of this longer material, if I want it where the fire is best, it needs to be down here. But when I built this, I built it for the propane forge, which sits up higher. And all this time, I've been sitting here going, what the hell? And it just dawned on me the solution is super simple. I just take the piece that slides in and out of the square tube and cut off, what is that, 6 inches, 5 inches? And then it'll be perfect again. I can do that. I wish I'd thought of it sooner. Wouldn't have been fighting with this so much. So let's see if I can find the place I smacked with the hammer. There it is. Now it doesn't matter if it gets bent as it's or twisted as I'm bending it. I don't remember if it was Jurgen or Rob who said I should have been using these, but wish I had thought of that sooner. There we go. Done deal. Did I get that length right? Close enough. As a matter of fact, it's just a little bit longer, and that's perfectly fine. So now I just eyeball that, bring it here so I can see it, take it off, put it back because I just moved, take it off, cut it off right there. And there we go. Another one done. Get one more done before we call it quits. My wife won't be upset if I take a little longer than the 11 o'clock hour simply because this is for her. You guys been chit-chatting about. Daniel was covering for me. You can use 2 stakes per grommet hole and angle the tent stakes against each other. Like if these were actually real tents, I would say yes, but that's not what they are. I'll show you. Out there in the chicken run, if you look at the green part, the green parts there that are behind the one you can see most clearly is the one that's behind all the brush on the right side of the screen. Um, and then there's another one towards the middle. I shouldn't say the right side of the frame of my door. And then there's another one that is, if I put my hand in just the right place, I'm kind of pointing at it right there. So there and there. And they have tubular, it's all tubular construction. You can actually, yeah, you can't see it from there, but it's all tubular construction. That stuff holds up pretty well until something lands on it and bends it, and then it gives. And if a wind gets a hold of it and bends it, then it can, bend it up too. I've got basically three three structures that are, maybe it's 4 structures that are on this on the outside of the chicken run. 2 of them used to be similar hoop houses that the wind ended up catching, and one of them, and the other one was because a tree landed on it. Both of them stood up real well, though, to things like snow and rain and most winds. So my goal um, is to uh, have something that holds them down better than the typical tent stakes. They don't have grommets, but because they do have the rail running along the whole bottom, the loop size here, and if I'm wrong, I'll come back out here and I'll resize them, but the loop size is to go over that rail. So we'll end up staking them down from the inside with that looped over the rail. So let's get one more done. I'll put one of each type diagonal from each other, and let's see how they last. And then I can make 4 more next week if I don't get out here and just continue making. But I know the wife and I want to go out and get some lunch. Real easy project. I don't know if these things would sell worth making them and selling them. I don't think that I'm not saying they wouldn't sell. I just don't know if you could sell them at a price that turns enough of a profit to make it worth the time. So let's do this again. We'll start here. I do recognize now why people talk about leaving the blob on the end to keep the heat. Literally, it's like that starting your forge by hitting the piece of metal. Every time I hit it, I can see it glow red again. Oh, you didn't see any of that, though. I gave you the non-exciting part. But on top of that, we already know that one of the key benefits, of course, Need to heat it up again for me able to finish it. Try to get things in square again. Not that it needs to be square, but one of the key benefits is you don't end up with fish lip on the end. But it is true that it conserves heat, I guess you could say. And I don't think really conserves it so much as you keep imparting energy into the system, and the heat that's already in there just gets leveled back up again a little bit every time you hit it. Be careful not to burn that tip off. All right, let's see if we can get things more in square. Doesn't really need to be square, but I feel better if it is. There's nothing about these tent stakes that needs to be pretty. There we go. Squared up. I feel better. Let's get the length and cut it off. Well, we'll cut it off after we bend it, of course. Right about there is where we'll cut it off after we bend it. Let's see if we can mark that in a ways to find it again. There it is. Come back over here. There it is. Into the fire. Now, if I had to do these production style, I would probably have a nice little bending jig. But I honestly don't know if it's all that important to have a bending jig. That the thing that would probably help is a mechanism for cutting them off faster. Daniel, is it still things are getting hot? Take care, Keith. Yep, that's what it's been the whole time, Daniel. It's supposed to just entice those weirdos that, you know, like me, like a good double entendre. And then later they realize that's kind of funny and, still on point. There's absolutely nothing hot in here except for the fact that there's a fire. So, unless you like a middle-aged white guy in a leather smock. Oh, I need to fix that. I haven't done the barbecue blade part of it in like 2 weeks. My hammer's glowing. I don't think the hammer is that hot. I think that that was a trick of the light. All right, what do we got here? We have, come on, show me the mark. Show me the mark. There it is. Let's see if we can bend this in the place I want to instead of the, nope, we're going to actually cool off the area I don't want bent. That's better. We'll get that in a minute. Let's try not to burn the Mac. I have a buddy who thinks we should burn all Macs, but this one's doing work for me, so come on. There we go. There we go. Good, good. Let's see if I got that the right length. I did. Good. Cut it off. Call that one done. Yeah, let's grab this again. Not that it matters a lot, but there. These don't have to be identical, but again, I like being consistent. So yeah, I do think in production the part that takes the longest is the taper and then the cut. The bend does not take the longest, and it's pretty easy to do over the horn, considering it doesn't have to be exact. All right, get that last one cooled off. Stop grabbing my. There we go. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to make 4 more next week. What am I missing? Put away the tongs. Put away the hammer. Too hot to touch? No, not too hot to touch. Hot enough to steam, not too hot to touch. There we go, folks. 3 candy cane shanks. I mean, tent stakes. Let me put them over this way. These look more like candy cane shanks than the others do. Get out of the sunlight. Hammer isotopes. All right, switch back here and show my questionable good looks on camera again. I'm glowing. Look at this. I've got like this halo effect going on. And if I took my hat off, it'd be even brighter. Only because it'll shine off the part that you can never see that's slightly balding. The rest of it looks like I have lots of hair. So, all right, folks. I appreciate you hanging out with me. What is the what was the final outcome? Did we decide we'll come get back together again next week and finish up some more tent stakes? Maybe a second fire poker, because fact is, I still have a second fire pit. So 2 fire pits, 2 fire pokers. If you stop by, I'll see you then. Um, if you don't, I'll see you the following weekend or next time you get a chance to stop on in. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for those of you that have become recent subscribers and hit that like button. I appreciate it. And for Mr. Pekka, because he asks, we'll wash some hands. Because yeah, these are pretty grody. It won't come clean. I don't have the right Gojo out here. We'll get that done. Have a great week, folks. And as always, be a light in somebody's life. Put out love into the world. Or, in other words, love and light.